This is incredible. What a day. What a day.
Don't have the best of luck in these speed-based challenges. But I'm fully joshing this one, so I think I've got a chance. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. It's a new monthly Mayhem challenge, and this one is a little bit different. If you are not familiar with monthly Mayhem, it's where usually Josh from Harley Designs Inc. and myself take a vehicle and make it do something it wasn't necessarily intended to do. And this one is no different. We're taking the Vanquish VS410 Phoenix straight axle kit and making them go fast. Yep, we're back to a speed challenge. This one is the VSpeed challenge. And we've invited other YouTubers from within our realm of this great hobby. Tom Lee RC, RC Review, CCXRC, K-Pop RC, Turks and Jerps, West Desert Wheeler, and of course, myself, Scale Builders Guild, and Josh from Harley Designs. We're all doing it. And we're all going to be taking massively different approaches, I'm sure. This format is slightly different in that we're not doing a video every week. We're just doing one big long video at the end. So you'll get to see all the results all at the same time from all of these YouTubers. And it's very exciting. It's an exciting time, and it's cool to see so many of us participating in this exact challenge. We've all got the same rules. We're all going to stick to those rules. Hopefully. This is sort of me documenting this whole process over the next little while. It's October 2nd today, and I'm just getting started. I was on vacation. I went to Las Vegas. That's where this shirt is from. And I'm probably a few days behind everyone else getting started, but there has been a lot of work behind the scenes. I'm not going to be using this Phoenix, of course. This was a pre-production unit sent to me by Vanquish, so it's going to stay exactly as it is. I've got a brand new one in the box right back there. We're going to be building that kit and putting it together, using most of it, and then adding a whole bunch of extra stuff to go fast. I am, like I said, fully joshing this one. And that means that I'll be taking a lot of my newfound knowledge in Fusion 360 and creating a whole bunch of new parts. Not just 3D printing, but also using Send Cut Send to create an entirely new chassis. Well, not entirely new. I still have to use the frame rails, and we should go over the rules. These are pretty important to follow. Without rules, it would be true mayhem. Hold that thought. Do me a favor, and if you don't want to listen to me read out the rules, they're in the description down below, so you can read them. Otherwise, there'll be a handy counter that will count down to when the rule reading is over. Let's go through them. First things first, you must use the VS410 Phoenix F10 straight axle kit. And you must use specifically the axles. That's the whole point of this challenge, is to use these straight axles. You can upgrade them if desired, knuckles, gears, etc., but all must still be F10 based. You must use the VS410 chassis rails. Cross members, skid plates, shock towers, etc. can be changed or modified, so they don't have to be used. The rails have to be used, so we'll definitely be using those. The rails can be modified, but must remain majority intact. Open to interpretation. Rails must still function as the structural chassis. You can't just zip tie them to something else and say that it's a VS410. It has to be structural and still an integral part of the build. I think that's fair. Must still use the suspension. Front and rear axles must still have a reasonably measurable suspension travel. No locking out of your shocks, and that's good. It should still be a crawler. That's the whole point of this. Make it something that it isn't, but keep what's there intact. Must use the Phoenix body, so we will be using this body kit. Body can be trimmed and modified as desired, but it still should look like the VS410 by the end of it. Forward propulsion must come from the mechanical drive of the axles to the tires. No rockets, free fall assist, sails, black holes, riding inside another vehicle, tow cords, etc. K-Pop actually did admit to me that he wanted to try doing like a tethered system and just having it spin around in a circle. Can't do it. Speed must be measured with a GPS device, such as the GNSS, which I have. Speed must be measured using a device like this. This is the GNSS. It is a GPS-based speed performance analyzer. Very handy to have, great software, and rock solid reliability. This is what everybody uses, so we'll be using that too. We're not expecting speeds above 60 miles an hour, but who knows? Maybe we'll Raz Schifrin this one. Battery size, maximum we can use is a 4S battery, so that's across the board, no limits on milliamp hours, but you shouldn't want a big one, that's for sure. You must perform all the work on the car yourself, except paint. We're giving Josh a pass on that one. If he wants to have someone else paint it, by all means, he can do that. I'll be doing my own paint work. And wheelbase must remain within plus or minus 2 inches. 2 inches? So you could have a 14.3 inch wheelbase if you were so inclined, which we'll get into as we go down the line and make this project happen. All social media for the last month that you've probably been watching this kind of come to a head. There is no real stuff outside of teasers. We're not showing full chassis, we're not showing speeds, we're not showing anything. It's all kind of a mystery right up until the very last second. Probably right now. Freedoms, no limits on motor, no limits on transmissions, no limits on tire or wheels, no track width restrictions, and no restrictions on using 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or a center differential. So there is a full kind of battery of things that can happen, and I think that's where we're going to see a lot of real differences between all of these vehicles. And we're done. I just saved you 3.5 minutes. You're welcome. I am really excited about this project because I've already started collecting bits and pieces. So let's just move this VS410 out of the way, and I can start to show you some of the elements here. There's some cardboard aided design. This is the basic layout of what's going to become an under tray for the VS410 Phoenix. I've already done some loose modeling in Fusion 360 to kind of build this out already. I've started putting together mounting holes. I've already cut the rear of this off quite a bit because what we're going to be adding here, there's a host of all kinds of parts that are going on this, but this is the rear diffuser from a Arma Felony, and that's going to be going let's start mocking this up. There's our under tray. This is going to go right about there. Everything's going to get lowered quite a bit. I've gone back to the Proline Avenger tires. These were used on the OMG 63 speed challenge, where I got that truck up to 60 miles an hour before rapidly stopping it with a curb. But these were great tires. They held up really well. They are belted. They're a soft compound, which is good for the cooler weather that we're having here now in Canada. And there's only 4 of them this time, so I saved some money. These are pre-mounted on 17mm hex wheels, so we'll be using some adapters and widening out the track width, of course, too. Then instead of the included transmission, which is the VS410 VFD, which is an excellent transmission, this one's got the selectable overdrive, selectable dig. It's pretty useless for a speed run, so we're going to be using this Arma center differential and motor mount. I'm definitely going for speed. That is for sure. For the main under chassis plate, I will be going with 7075 aluminum, 3mm. I'll also be adding a carbon fiber chassis brace, as well as some 3D printed elements as well that can be easily replaced if this truck hits a curb, which I'm really hoping we don't do this time. I'd like to not do that if I could. Everything's sort of unproven at this point until we actually get these parts back from Sencut Sen, so that's probably going to be the next update. I would like to say best of luck to the rest of the competitors, because there's a lot of them, and I'm really keen to see everyone's approach on how they're making this happen. In no particular order, be sure to check out K-Pop RC, Harley Designs Inc., Turks and Jerps, RC Review, CCXRC, Tomley RC, and West Desert Wheeler. That's 7 plus me, so that's a lot of content that's all rolling out today. Because this is sort of a more free form and we've got time to work on it, there will be little bits and pieces and updates. So this is all just kind of free form, man. But I want to go fast, and I'm doing a much better job of it this time around, if you ask me. I think we're going to see some pretty significant speeds out of these trucks, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so let's get to work building the kit, which is fantastic, I might add. Especially when you've built your own knife. Well, assembled it anyway. Okay, so a couple of things have happened since I started putting the whole kit together. What a mess. You'll notice here a chassis mounted servo converted to a axle mounted servo, and the whole idea here is to kind of save some space and eliminate getting that servo way up high and using it in its standard location. We're just going to put it on the axle. This is a prototype that I 3D printed. It still needs a bit of work. It's not exactly perfect. I've also started kind of working out. What a mess. Oh my god. I can't believe myself. This is the worst way to work. You'll see here, this is a standard 90 mil shot that I've shortened to only have 10 mil of travel, but still works perfectly and really kind of limits the suspension, which is exactly what I want for this build. Oh man, wow. Holy cow. That's amazing. That is amazing. Look at that. Holy cow. Maybe I went too thick. That looks phenomenal. I'm so excited. Send cut send order delivered. This is the first one. And of course, they included a discount code because I'm Canadian. One of their first customers. That's really cool. I already ordered my second order, so that's 15% off I didn't get. But I will use that. Man, that looks good. I'm so happy with how that looks. That's obviously the bottom, because that's where the countersinking goes. But man, oh man, it's phenomenal. It looks so good and so precise. Here's the carbon fiber to help stiffen that chassis, and everything lines up perfectly. It's almost like I designed it that way. This is so awesome. I'm so excited. Oh, there's so much junk in here. The front air dam. Oh man, this looks so great. It's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited. This is fantastic. It's such a great day. And couldn't come a moment too soon, because there's a lot to do. So I'm gonna turn the camera off and get to it. This is gonna be great.
One eternity later.
Now, I wasn't joking when I said I was fully joshing this competition. Let me pull the chassis off. This is the bottom plate. As you can see, everything is installed, and wow, I'm pretty impressed with how everything came together. When you design in Fusion 360 and then send to Send Cut Send, you get exactly what you designed. And that was my first mistake. I wasn't really sure how to designate the top from the bottom when I was building out the actual chassis plates. So I've got all of those great countersunk holes on the wrong side. Like, why not just reverse the transmission? Well, there are certain mount points for all of that. And if I wanted to keep everything exactly where I intentionally designed it, this was the only way to do it. I have no idea how this is going to do. It's pretty wacky, and it's all sort of designed without actually doing any testing or research. But it looks like it's going to work. We'll see. Do you ever have one of those weeks where everything is frustrating and it's not quite working out the way you want it to? Well, that's what this project is currently feeling like. There were a few things that I forgot about when I was designing this chassis, namely links. And it wasn't something I gave a lot of thought to when I was putting things together. So would I have done it differently? Absolutely. Am I going to work with what I have? 100% because I cannot afford to do this again. So I've now made 3 orders through SendCut Send, and I got to use my discount code on the last one, so that's good. But what you see here is sort of the beginnings of where it's actually going to sit. And as you can see up front here, these little titanium tabs here, these were designed to be the original height of the chassis to the chassis underplate. And as you can see, I was off by almost 30 millimeters, which is substantial. So yeah, the truck is sitting definitely higher than it was before, but certainly lower than a stock truck, which is still good. That's good. What I did though is I actually went back to Fusion 360 and I redesigned the entire thing. I actually plotted out where the spur and where the motor is going to sit, and I put that into the design so I could work around that. I built some chassis plates that are going to mount the actual chassis rails to the bottom plate. Sort of got all of that set up and ready to go. There's new front mounts, there's new rear mounts. It's going to require a few more holes drilled into the bottom plate, but that's fine. We can do that. That's easy. And from there, we'll kind of figure out where links can go. I'm thinking I don't necessarily need to go with that servo on axle. I think I can get away with chassis mounted servo, which will save me a ton of re-engineering of links. The thing that I was always kind of worried about was like, if the body's sitting this high up off the chassis plate, what am I going to do to sort of fill in these areas on the sides and in the front? Well, I've bought some craft foam that I'm going to carve into some, aerodynamic shapes to kind of fit within the front air dam and the side skirts and kind of make it kind of look like it's part of the body. It's going to hopefully be aerodynamic. We'll have to see. But what I'm going to use is a carbon fiber technique where I actually wrap that foam in carbon fiber and then throw an epoxy filler on top to sort of smooth it all out and make it look really slick. So that's today's update. 18 days to go. And I'm freaking out, man. Okay, so it's October, what is it? It's October 16th, which means I have 15 days, like 2 weeks remaining before we have to have these competitions done and finished. Josh and I were actually talking. We think we're gonna ask everyone else if they've made any progress, if anyone's done any runs yet. We're not gonna ask for actual speed or anything like that, but we wanna know if people have actually gone out and done any testing yet, because, it's sort of important to keep an eye on what people are doing and making sure they're actually participating and have done something to this point. Otherwise, we're gonna have to kind of get some fires lit to make sure that things are happening. Things are definitely happening here. Yesterday was a big design day and sort of a tinkering day, and looking at links and trying to see if I could get the links kind of set up with my new mounts. So I 3D printed and designed some new link mounts, as you can see right here. Front link mount is perfect. Everything's perfect. There's no binding anymore because I've decided to go back to servo on chassis. The servo mount that I made to make it mount to the axle worked fine, but it kind of didn't work quite the way I wanted it to. And that's okay. Not everything's gonna work the way you anticipate. And I'm glad that I did that because after rebuilding the shocks with the firmer spring and kind of bringing it all the way down, I've got a good amount of actual travel now. Not a ton, but more than enough. All the links are great. Everything's looking really good there. There is a drive shaft now, a nice dog bone that is the perfect length. I gotta say I lucked out on those measurements. Went to my hobby shop and was like, do you have any dog bones? And I kind of went through them all and measured and found a couple that worked perfectly. As you can see, I've stretched it out a fair bit there. It's probably going to come back a little bit, but it is definitely longer than 12.3, which is the intention. I want it to be longer and wider. Right, so after getting rid of the servo on axle, going back to a servo on chassis, popped in a 299 LP from Reefs, which should give me more than enough torque, and I'm not really looking to do a ton of steering anyway, so it'll be like that much at best. I will be running a gyro. I've decided to add a gyro to this system too, because, you know, maintaining control is sort of important. You know, I don't want this thing going all over the place like previous years, especially with the TRX-6. No matter what I did, that thing always kind of wanted to just go into a curb. We are avoiding curbs this year. This is not that challenge. And then finally, probably the most interesting thing is body placement, which, man, that looks so sick now. It's really coming along nicely, and I love the stance. I don't even mind the shock towers poking through on the hood. I think it actually kind of adds a bit of meanness. And in, you know, like a worst case scenario, we can always do a little carbon fiber work there to cover those up and add some aero back onto it if necessary. The cage ties in to the back. I think I covered that in the last little update. And yeah, it's all coming together. You're probably gonna say like, hey, there's a lot of space here, idiot, all along there and there. Well, we're gonna do something with foam and carbon fiber. And since I think most of those materials are arriving next week, today's Sunday, I'm hoping to get everything by Wednesday. I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will probably be carbon fiber days. And then I've got a big carbon fiber wing that's gonna be here maybe Tuesday. So there we go. That's where it's sitting. Josh was asking if I had any predictions for speed, if there was any sort of overall speed that I thought I would accomplish. Seeing as I got the deadbolt to 55 or 57 on significantly less technology, it was like direct drive, rear axle, two-wheel drive only, I figure I can easily, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this, I'd like to see 61. I think 61 is a good sort of base that'll put me sort of at the top tier with this car. So that's my prediction, 61 miles an hour. Not kilometers, 61 miles per hour. You know, I'd be happy if it went 65. Pressure's definitely on. I've spent a lot of time on this over the last few days and I've stressed about it. The best thing I did last night was say, okay, I'm not working on this much past, you know, like noon. And then the rest of the time I'm gonna spend doing other things. I painted the Baja, I started working on the paint design for this, and it was a really good thing because it let me go to sleep and let my brain subconsciously figure out some of the problems I was having, and it fixed all those problems. So, good brain. Well, it's the 18th, and where is it? This was a giant success, but the idea was to see if it works, and nothing. That's pretty spectacular. It's really amazing how strong carbon fiber is, and what I'm waiting for now is a hot cutting wire so I can actually start cutting the proper shapes out of my styrofoam to build out all of the aerodynamic stuff. So while I'm waiting, I was like, hey, I got nothing better to do. Let's start painting the body, or at least get it masked up. I found this really cool martini theme on this Dodge Viper that I thought was like so sick. So we're gonna be replicating that for this build. I like the black, the red, the white, the blue. I think it's just a nice color combo, and it also kind of reminds me of the Scale Builders Guild in a way, because all those colors are used. So fits nicely into a theme. Doesn't look like much yet, but this is the start of the front air thingy. This is the result of some sanding of some extruded polystyrene, which is just regular everyday styrofoam you use in a packing container. And I'm sort of like using the hot knife, which is super effective. I love this thing. This is amazing.
using that to sort of carve out these areas and kind of fit it to shape. The idea here is to sort of have this sort of sit right along the front here and kind of help move the air where I want it. One thing they don't tell you about making carbon fiber parts is how absolutely disgusting things get. Once these pieces are done, and there's the other one there, it's curing quite nicely and looking really good. There's going to have to be a lot of trimming because the resin pools down there and it's going to be really thick and really strong, and the only way to do that is with a cutting tool. So that's going to have to be what we do there, and the same over here. And there's the GNSS holder. That worked out pretty darn well. I like that a lot. Deadlines. Timelines are tight. I'm really starting to feel the pinch for sure. And yeah, I mean, I know it's the 18th. Weather's been garbage here, absolute garbage. Rainy, cold. Next week is supposed to be nice. So I'm really hoping that I get a few days with the car done. The second send cut send order isn't even done cutting yet, and I'm a little bit nervous about that one. I'm wondering if I can call them and get like mega super express shipping or something. I'll look into that right after I get off of this GoPro here. That is exactly how I feel right there. I'm this guy, and I'm like, yeah, this is my second send cut send order. Yes. Wing parts. Yep, that's going to do. It's exactly at the right height. That's fantastic. What we're going to do, probably, definitely, is cover this whole cage area with a sheet of Lexan. Just clear Lexan so you can still see through and there's still line of sight for the GNSS, and won't allow a lot of air to kind of get underneath the body, and still kind of, the wing will still be functional. So yes, mega chuffed. I'm actually just printing out some of the mounts right now. Okay, so here they are after about 12 hours, 13 hours of curing. There's probably another 12 hours to go before it's like completely set up. But that's pretty amazing, pretty hard. And as you can see, just styrofoam underneath. So it's mega light. For a first time making carbon fiber parts, I feel like I actually did a pretty decent job. That matches pretty nicely. Yes. Yes. It sort of gives you the idea, no? Added a sway bar. This is the Reefs RC sway bar kit. I had to modify slightly, used a longer rod in order to kind of clear everything on this this Phoenix. It's not not really designed to probably have one, but this will work just fine, just the way it is. Another thing crossed off the list. I should actually probably write a list now that I think about it.
Luke, I am your father. So what we're doing is trimming all the carbon fiber now. It's cured, and we're going to key it so it's ready for eventual polishing. So we're using a Dremel. We're all masked up, got gloves. I'm doing it outside because carbon fiber dust will definitely be bad for you.
Now I'm mixing up some final kind of like gloss coat epoxy, doing my best to not get a lot of bubbles in there. First we're going to apply a seal coat to the parts just to kind of like make sure no bubbles are going to pop up, and then we'll do another coating to sort of flood it and get it all clean and glossy and shiny, and then let that cure and set up over the next 3 or 4 hours, and then we'll try to do another one after that. Okay, so let's just start.
Just finished the Thursday night What's on the Bench live. I just wanted to see if the final epoxy coat had set up, and it has. And it's so shiny. It's like glass. It's so crazy. For my first attempt at carbon fiber ever, I'm pretty pleased with the results. Also printed up at 75% infill, a revised link mount, so that gives me lots more strength than before, and double shear as well, so much stronger than it was before. The final pieces. Final send cut send order has arrived, and oh hey look, it's painted. That looks pretty cool, huh? Car is basically mechanically sorted. Everything's mounted properly now. The send cut send parts absolutely perfect. The front air dam, well, it looks neat. It's far from it. It's really kind of, it looks homemade. I mean, all the carbon fiber looks homemade because it was homemade, but even the slightest bit of steering will rub because I just didn't quite get this right. It's just a bit too deep. Just doesn't quite fit in there properly. I don't know if I've ever shown you the body mount. It's just sort of a friction fit. Fits perfectly in the bumper mount there. And then the rest of it will be tied in with the rest of the body. These side skirts are looking okay. They fit pretty well, but they will need to be trimmed around these new mounts. This is how the whole thing is kind of attached to the plate. You can see there's these plates here, these center plates, and then there's one on the front too. And this is all very rigid and very strong, and I'm feeling really super good about the chassis design as a whole. I think it's about as good as I could possibly imagine, and it's nice and like strong. I'm so glad I went back and redid the link mounts and double sheared everything, because it just makes everything so much more rigid. I've got my ABC Spectrum receiver. That's the SR6200A. I do want to put some lights on the car. I don't know that there's any point, but I do want to have some, just for fun. Had to notch, ever so slightly notch the chassis rail. I knew I was going to have to do that. That's why there's a cutout there, just to clear the center diff. But everything feels really smooth and really, really tight. I'm just really, really excited. I feel like it's all kind of gelling. It's all coming together. This is probably the most design work I've ever done on a vehicle before, and I feel pretty good about it. I feel positive. Like, I feel like I've achieved something here. Even if it doesn't go fast, I feel really good about what I've achieved. Like, Send Cut Send is a really awesome place, and it just goes to show you that when you build something and you design it in 3D, everything works. You don't have to like second guess yourself. It just works. And then you've got this beautiful chassis. I'm so happy. Like, I'm so happy. You have no idea. But I'm also super stressed. This has been so crazy. I can't even really believe it. I gotta stop talking so much though, because this video is gonna be way long. We haven't even gotten to testing the darn thing yet. I also drove the car for the first time yesterday, not to test speed or to see if it, was gonna go real fast or anything, but just to make sure it actually drove. and tracked straight, and ABC was working, and all of those things are working now. I feel pretty chuffed about everything, including the wiring job. It's all quite clean. Now that I'm kind of rethinking my carbon parts, I can't believe, well, you know what? I didn't waste time. This was time well spent learning how to do this. That's what's so great about Monthly Mayhem, is that it really does take you out of your wheelhouse, and it makes you learn a lot of stuff really quickly. And, I've learned so much. I think just seeing how this has turned out is, reason enough to say these challenges are fantastic. Win or lose, I've won already because I've gained so much knowledge. One of the things I added was this fun blinking rear light on the back here. And it's sort of like a little bit Formula One inspired, but I printed a little internal clear 3D printed structure there to hold a couple of flashing LEDs. And I just think it kind of adds that sort of Formula One kind of look to it. I'm pretty happy with that. Am I going to win? Man, I don't think so. I'm not fooling myself into thinking that I've become like a master of engineering and design and that this is going to be a winning car. But I think I've done everything right, and I've done everything beyond my usual standard of ability. All right, here's the mold with the silicone in it after not quite 24 hours. That's fine though. And you just kind of pull it out. That's what she said. There it is. Holy cow. Amazing. So, all right, now what happens next is we're going to spray the inside of this mold, this one, with release agent, because we don't want any carbon fiber sticking to this. So we're going to leave that for a second. But here is the piece. Here's what it basically looks like now.
It was at this point that I realized I needed to do a lot more voiceover work in order to make this video shorter. So here's a little bit of voiceover to get us through more of this montage.
What are you doing?
This technique is very similar to the other carbon fiber technique I just learned. The only difference is you're pressing the carbon fiber fabric into a mold, adding your silicone mold, and putting the whole thing under a ton of pressure. It's basically the same, but totally different. And I learned to trim before compression and setting that epoxy. Smart. This 3M Scotch brand dual lock Velcro is extremely strong, but extremely easy to undo things if you need to get at said electronics or mechanicals to make a change. So the side pods and all my electronics have been installed using that dual lock. And some pretty decent weight distribution there too. Now here's that silicone mold coming out. There's the carbon fiber piece. Turned out pretty darn good for my first go with the new technique. The biggest question on everyone's mind is, how many miles per hour extra do you get from googly eyes? Okay, it's October 27th, and some very good things have happened. We're in the middle of the poll right now, and I've won the first round. It looks like I'm going to win the second round, and then I'm going to be up against either Josh or West Desert Wheeler. And I'm pretty excited because they both made, actually, you know what? Everybody made really great looking trucks. It's been a really fantastic reveal. And hopefully you will have by now at least watched a couple of the videos to see how great these builds have turned out and what they've been able to accomplish. I'm still in the dark. No idea about speeds at all. I haven't even driven it. In fact, it's just finished now. It's missing 2 stickers, but it's basically finished. Everything is ready to go. Tomorrow, we're going to do a little shakedown run. We're going to see how this thing performs, how ABC is working, make sure everything is set up and working properly. And then Saturday, I got an airstrip. That's right. K-Pop and I are going out to an airstrip 2.5 hours northwest of the city to drive these cars on a proper, smooth airstrip. I am so excited and so fortunate. My thanks to Craig, who messaged me and said, I think I know a guy who can help you. I am blown away at the generosity both of the Airfield and the helper that we have. We have a pilot who's going to be on standby on the radio with the tower in case there's any air traffic that needs to come into the airspace. We need to get right off that runway right away. Saturday morning, we're going to get up super early. K-Pop and I are going to hit the road, and we're going to drive these cars on an airfield. I am so excited and nervous. Well, this is probably the last time we're going to see it this shiny. I hope that's not the case, but it's always possible with me. You never know. The other day, I did swap the spur. We started with a 50-tooth spur, and thanks to some math, which is never my strong point, I determined that I did not have enough gearing, so we had to make some changes. The best way to do any of this math in regards to speed and gearing is through this great little app here called VSpeed. You can get it on iPhone, you can get it on Android, and this thing changes everything. Here's where I've got it geared right now. I'm giving away all my secrets, but that's what we're geared towards now. Now we've got this gigantic monster to put on there, and we probably will end up putting it in. Gets us to a theoretical top speed of 68.87. And if we can even break 60, I'll be thrilled. It would be really awesome to win the 5 mile per hour bonus. That would be very cool. Am I counting on that? No. Am I counting on winning? Absolutely not. There are some fine competitors in this competition, and I think once you've seen what Josh has done, there's a very strong likelihood that he's going to win regardless of how many miles per hour bonus I get. Anyway, there you go. That's the truck in its entirety. And I'm very proud of what I've accomplished. This was not an easy task by any means. But I'm reasonably thrilled with everything that came out of this. And win, lose, or draw, I'm pretty happy with what I created. From the Fusion 360 portion of this, to the carbon fiber portion of this, to just coming up with this and painting it and making it look exactly like I wanted it to, is a pretty big accomplishment. My thanks to Vanquish for providing us with these kits to do this monthly Mayhem challenge, and to 8 of us, no less. And also to all of my competitors for being just amazing. The group chat was hilarious. There were a lot of jokes made and a lot of friendships continued. And thanks to Josh, honestly, of all the people I thought I'd be thanking, I didn't think Josh would be one of them, but he helped push me to get me to this point. And without him, I don't think these Mayhem challenges would be anything close to what they are. So thank you, Josh. Much appreciated. All right, let's go run the car now.
There's a 5 in the morning now?
Yeah, right?
This is fun.
This is fog, man. It's not snow. This is pure fog. This is Canadian fog, people. What are we doing today, bro?
Well, hopefully surviving. Here we go. Clears right out.
Oh, nice. Beauty.
Yeah. Oh. Whew.
There it is.
Well, that was fun.
This small airfield would become our home base for the next few hours, and our eternal thanks to both the owners of the airfield and to our pilot friend Nick, who flew in his own private plane to help us man the radios and get us off the runway if there happened to be unexpected traffic.
But here we are. We're out on the runway. Well, taxiway. Here's the plane that our friend Nick showed up in.
Yeah, Nick came here on this freaking plane, man. Check it out.
K-Pop's here. We're on the runway. Just standing out here on a runway. As one does, I guess. Track, start. Seems like it's pretty straight. Okay, here we go.
Our quiet airfield all of a sudden got a little busier. The Royal Canadian Air Force cadets were doing some training in their gliders, so we were going to have to share.
Yeah.
Try to knock it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Start it,
I just
then
got to
we'll go
fly
over
down to that end, come back, and then we'll be out of your way.
Okay.
Yeah, all good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
47.
Get it.
And it's got way more in it. I'll just change the pinion real quick.
Let's do it. Well, you got half an hour.
It was surprisingly easy and straight, and having this helped a lot for my nerves.
Yeah, true. No curbs.
23 tooth going on.
Like it looks cool and calm and collected. There's nothing unpredictable about what's happening with this thing.
I know, it's kind of weird how smooth it is. That seems pretty smooth, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
If you have access to a private airfield, I highly recommend it. It's so choice.
Track, start.
Ready?
Okay.
Let me know.
Does this sound slower to you?
Do you think you over-pinioned the motor? And check the heat of your motor right now.
Read 46. We got slower.
Slower. That looked a bit faster. No, it's not. I can hear it. Oh, it's so stable.
It's got so much more in it.
Professional what?
48.
48.
48. I just don't know what to do now. 48, that's all I got. Well, that's a real disappointment.
Is it?
Yeah.
Seeing that I know nothing about nitro, I thought I would leave K-pop to try to figure it out on his own. Poor guy couldn't get this thing started though. At all.
I don't have enough motor. I don't have enough motor at all. I've wasted this beautiful strip. It's so demoralizing because I know it's capable of more. It was so smooth and so straight, but I definitely feel like it was squandered. 47 wasn't, 48 was not enough. I should have motored up. That's all there is to it. K-pop's gonna go for a ride. So here he goes.
That's how I get video footage of me in helicopters.
Yeah, you just ask people and they allow you. Okay, have fun.
Alrighty.
What do you say for like flights? Break a leg or?
Godspeed.
Godspeed, safe flight.
Oh, look at all the gauges.
Don't touch any of those now, Cape. It's not that I don't want to go for a flight. It's that I'm afraid.
And with K-pop flying off into the blue sky, that's where we end this journey. We had an amazing time at the airstrip and definitely learned a lot about what our cars were capable of. Hold on, you didn't think I was done, did you? Well, it's not quite an airstrip, but it sure is close to one. Pretty
reasonably smooth, decent pavement. Might be the same kind of pavement age that was at the airstrip. It's not certainly as smooth. There are some lumpier parts and some parts to stay away from, but we're gonna make it work. We've moved up to a 3850 kV, which is substantial. It's a lot more kVs, but you know, gotta go for it here. Can't really faff about anymore. Tomley will know what that means. Track. Start. Yep. Okay. Whew. That's definitely more speed. Whew. Oh boy. That's got a lot. That's a lot more. I'm a bit nervous now. I'm shaking. It's probably the googly eyes that helped. I hope that's faster. Stop. Read. 58. Okay, that's 10 miles per hour faster. Oh. Whew. Breathe, Matthew. Breathe. Let's try one more pass there with this setup, and then we'll move up some pinions. Pretty smooth. I will take it. It's a little bumpy towards the end, but for the most part, this is pretty smooth. And this car is just so stable. I can't get over how much little steering input I have to make. Stop. Read. 58. Okay. So that's all we've got out of that pinion. Let's go up 3 teeth and see what more we can get. Oh, nothing. 98. It's not even taxed. Did I by mistake build the best speed car ever? I know it's not going super mega fast yet, but it doesn't feel like it's getting out of control either. I mean, this feels good. It feels really good. Well, my original goal was 61. I think that's what I said in the video earlier. But I'm only 3 miles per hour away from that, so I'm gonna up it. I want 64 plus the 5 mile per hour bonus for 69. Here we go. Slower again. Stop. Read. 51? That's unfortunate. Okay, well, 58 plus 5, 63. That's pretty good. I think we can go faster though. Feels pretty darn good though. Man. You're thinking to yourself, well, the TRX-6 got up to 60 before it hit that curb. Yes, it did. The difference being, of course, that it had unlocked differentials. So, and more power, baby. There was a lot more motor in that one. Gosh, I know it's capable of more. And that's what's so frustrating, is that it wants to go faster. It just doesn't have the right things to do so. So I made a quick run to the local hobby shop that was open on Sunday to grab some new pinions. Because why not? Now I gotta deal with that noise. Boy, you tell somebody about a place and then everybody's there using it.
Yeah! Don't worry, we're not going very fast.
Have you gotten any speed yet?
Okay.
Okay. Stop. I think that's probably 54. Ooh, 49. It's all about the gearing. And I just cannot get there. It's so weird, like one tooth takes 10 miles per hour out? Something's not right. Maybe just the battery itself, this one battery isn't great. Back up here on the curb where we know we're safe. That was way more, right?
It felt like it. Like, I mean, I was in a different position, so it's kind of hard to say. Go right away because you're not going to get the same.
That was moving. One more. Let's get to 61, guys. Is it? Last one, guys, last one. Stop.
Slow-mo
Breathe.
speed run. Yeah.
62! 62! Oh, yes! 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 Ooh. 62.
Oh, wait. I can't see shit. Oh, wait, and let me get focused really hard.
62. That was pretty fast. So that one battery doesn't have it in it. Should I save what battery I have left and try going up one more pinion? Yeah, let's f***ing do it. Kind of hoping all I need is like 2 miles per hour. Just 2. That's all I want. 2? Just 2 so I can get to 69. Oh. Ooh. Pinion's gone. Oh, there it is. Crazy.
All right.
Here we go. Ready?
Yep. No.
Cut off. Cut off.
And on that bombshell, oh, someone else has already used that line. But I will say that this little car well exceeded my expectations. 62 isn't bad. Plus a 5 mile per hour bonus. 67. That feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. I think there's more in it. 67 though, with the bonus. That could be a winner. Could be a winner. And with that, that's where this challenge for me ends. But I will say, this is not the end for this car. I fully intend to add more motor and better batteries and get even more speed out of it because it's definitely in there. I built a rock solid car and I'm very proud of what I've achieved. While I may not win, I've definitely won in my own way.